Hi, I'm Judah Scher, founder of Sindrian Arts, and today I'm going to show you how to build this folding iPad stand. So, first let me show you how it works. To open it, you grab the arm back here and open it up until you feel it lock. Now, this is the little stand piece. It normally sits right in here, but it'll fall out once you open it. Just set that aside for now. Then you grab the bottom of this arm piece here and open it up until it's in an X configuration, like so. Then sit it down and it'll actually work just fine this way. However, I've also designed it for some extra rigidity. You can insert this extra stand piece here. So you notice you have two holes, one here, one here. You want to pick up your stand, insert this cross piece in one hole, and pinch these two sides together until it fits in the other hole. And then it'll give your stand some extra rigidity. To adjust the viewing angle of the stand, you simply rotate this arm until it's at the desired position you want to give you a different viewing angle. So that's how it works. Now, to put it together, this is what you'll need. First, you'll need all these stand pieces. We have this body piece. This is the back of the stand. This is the front of the stand. This is the bottom of the arm, and this is the top of the arm. We also have some smaller pieces, which I will show you what these do in a minute. You also need a little bit of hardware. These are 5 1/2-inch number 8 screws, then 5 1/4-inch number 8 screws, 4 number 8 nuts, and 1 number 8 washer. Also, you'll need a standard number 2 screwdriver. I put mine in this handy-dandy electric thing to make it go faster. And something to tighten the nuts. I use a 11 32nd socket, but any small wrench will do. So, let's get started. Now the first thing I like to do is to put together the arm. So, first we'll take the bottom of the arm piece and one of the 1/2-inch screws. So, go ahead and fasten that in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive it forward until I can feel it protruding out of the back just a bit. Just about like so. Do that with both screws. It's another 1/2-inch number 8. There. Now I can take this small piece. Now notice this is going to be rounded on both sides. There are a couple other pieces of similar size, but they are square on one side. So you want the one that's rounded. Now it also has a slight curvature to it. Right now it's convex in this direction. So it can go on either way on here because I built in enough slack, but preferably you want the curvature of the small piece to go in line with the curvature of the bottom arm. So go ahead, place that on the back of the bottom arm, and hold that in there while you drive the screw through that piece. Again, stopping when a little bit protrudes. So yeah, about like that. And having it protrude a bit helps it to align with the next piece. So now, at this point, you want to take the body and sit the bottom arm on it so that that small piece sits in this big slot here. Then you'll flip it over and grab the top of the arm piece and place that over to the 2 screws, like so. Hold that in place and drive the screws all the way through until they're flush. The screw heads are flush. So, screw heads are flush there, protruding out the back. We'll put some nuts on there later. Actually, let's go ahead and just put the nuts on now. So, slightly put them on. Then I'll take this, just crank them down pretty well. Doesn't have to be super tight, just as, tight as you can. So now the X is now part of the body. Now it'll, the thing is it won't sort of stay open in the right place yet. So for that, we're going to need a couple of these stops. So there are two of them. These pieces here. You'll notice one's longer than the other. That way you can differentiate which goes where. So on this side, we're going to use the shorter of the two. Now again, I'm going to preset the screws. This time I'm going to use a 1/4" screw. So we'll go ahead, screw that in there till I feel it protruding a bit. Do it for the other screw hole. There we go, that's pretty good. And go ahead, set it on here. And then just screw them all the way in. Now you'll notice these don't protrude through the other side, so they don't need nuts. They just, I open it up here, you can see the screws are just flush with that surface. They actually cut little threads into the masonite, so you don't actually need the nuts. Let me tighten this one. See, there's a little crack there? Tighten that up, snugs it up. So, that's one of the stops. Let's go ahead and put in the other. So, here's the longer one. Also, make sure the square end of the stop, like here, so it's this square end is facing the top of this bottom arm piece, and likewise this one is going to be facing up, so it's parallel with that part of the top arm piece. So again, I will preset the screws. It'll just sort of click into where it needs to be because the screws are protruding a bit. And hold it in place. Watch your fingers. And then screw it in. There we go. So now when the arm opens, it'll lock into a specific place and sit like that. Of course it won't stand up because it doesn't have the stand yet. So let's go ahead and install that. We're going to set that aside and take this top of the stand piece, and we're going to install a 1/4" screw in this hole here. We're going to do it on the back side. Basically, this screw serves as a little index that'll pop into the bigger holes on the body. These holes here. And so when the screw hits those holes, it'll sort of lock it in a certain place, like here, like so. So, take a nut, go ahead and put a nut on the other side. Now, we're going to take one of the 1/2" screws, and we're going to drive it through the other hole. Now we want this to actually protrude a little bit more, say 1/8 of an inch, so that we can take the washer, pop it on there. Now we're going to take the body and put it on top of there, line it up with that hole there, and then once you're holding it, go ahead and screw it all the way through until you feel it protrude. Alright, there we go. Then we'll take the back of the stand piece and drive this all the way through. You want that really tight. Now, that'll make sure that it snugs all this up, which allows you then to put a nut on the back. However, once you've done that, it'll be really hard to open the stand. So, after you tighten on the nut, go ahead and take your screwdriver and loosen that screw about 1/2 turn. And that will allow it to slide firmly but easily. Now, we still need to put some stuff on the back here. Now, as it is, it'll just open up if you just let it like set it down in your bag, and we don't want that because then it might get broken. So I designed this piece to go here so that when the stand is fully closed, it'll keep the rest of it from opening. So let's take our last 2 1/2-inch screws, set them in there, protruding a bit. There we go. Then I'm going to rotate the back of the arm out of the way so I can feel the back of this front piece. Line the screws up with those 2 holes. There we go. Tighten those through. So again, they're protruding a bit. Then take this part, and it doesn't really matter which way you put it on. Pop that over. Sorry. Pop that over the 2 screws there. Again, tighten the screws through it, so it's protruding a bit. And then close the back of the stand up so that it lines up with those screws. And then tighten everything completely down. Oop. It doesn't seem to want to catch it. Just back the screw out a bit. Which I'll back them both out. And then let's try tightening it again. There we go. You wanted to do the last bit, if you are using an electric screwdriver, do the last bit manually. That way you don't accidentally over tighten it or start to strip the screw like that. So, and it should be nice and flush when you're done. And that's it. Oh, one last thing. Open up the stand. There's this slot here. Actually turn it over. And remember the little brace part? So it just rides in that slot. So you just set it in there. Some of these will hold this thing firmly, some of them it'll just fall out. But when it's closed, it will hold that part. So, just hold it with your fingers, and then when you start to close the stand, you'll notice it'll close around it there. So once it starts, you can just close it all the way, and now that little stand piece is trapped inside, won't come out. So there you go. That's how you make your folding tablet stand from Sindrian Arts. Thanks a lot.